So yesterday we learned the concept about what it takes to configure virtual machine backup, and we saw that there is something called as virtual server agent, which is like a proxy that needs to be configured in installed. And once that is done, it allows us to take backups of virtual environments. And we also saw that Commvault supports a wide range of hypervisors, right from VMware to Hyper-V to OpenStack to RHEV to OVM, okay, and even cloud hypervisors like AWS, Azure, GCP, so on and so forth. So today we will see how the virtual server agent practically communicates with the management machine of the virtual environment. So what Bhanu has done is he has installed a VMware ESXi environment, and what he's doing is he's logging into something called as the vCenter. vCenter is nothing but the management machine of VMware. And what we would need to do is we would need to communicate with this vCenter to do a discovery of the virtual machines inside this VMware environment so that we can start taking backups of them. So, Bhanu, can you create a small virtual machine here? Very small, so that it doesn't use much resources. So this is how we create a VM inside ESXi. Give it any name like VMware test or something like that. Yeah. Bhanu, let's create a Linux machine. Let's create a Linux machine. Guest OS. Yeah. Linux. Yes. You can choose Red Hat. Red Hat. Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9, 64-bit. Yes. 9, 64-bit. Yeah.
Sir, I don't have the ISO.
Oh, yes. That's also needed,
I
right?
have the Ubuntu ISO. Right? This one
Okay,
I
let's
can
do
use.
Ubuntu.
Hmm. But need to upload. Sir.
Okay, while this is getting uploaded, let us see the configuration in Commvault to communicate with the vCenter manager. So let's go to the ComServe machine. Yes. And let's go to client computers and expand the VSA proxy that was already installed on the ComServe machine. So yesterday we also saw how to to the installation of VSA proxy on a particular machine. Yeah. So can you start configuring the VSA?
Want me to create this server? Sir, you want me to add the VMware, sir?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So we have to give the vCenter IP or name here, and then uh, better to give the admin credentials so that there are no issues. But in a production environment, you may not get the admin credentials. And here that term access node is nothing but the proxy. Okay. So we have the proxy created on the master server. So we will choose the master server as the machine where we have already installed the VSA proxy software of Commvault. Okay. So you select that and click on include. The earlier terminology was VSA proxy. The new terminology is called access node. That's the only difference. Conceptually, everything is the same. Yeah. Click on OK and then click on OK here. So it is validating the credentials, whatever was entered. And there you see the new client got created. And under that, you see the virtual server subclient getting added. So right click on that virtual server. And now you see on the right hand side, uh, the subclient called VMware getting added. Okay. You right click on that subclient. You can see the default backup set. And under the default backup set, now it is trying to go and scan what is available. So you right click now on that default subclient which got created and go to properties. You will see that okay, it got the iData agent name as virtual server, whereas when we were doing a file system level backup, there we used to see the iData agent as file system. Okay. Now you go to content, click on the tab called content. So here now instead of file systems, we will see VM names. Okay. That's the difference in this section of this subclient. Once you click on browse on the right hand side, you see here the view has changed. Now we are not seeing the folder structure. We are actually seeing the vCenter, that is 192.168.1.60, and under that we are seeing the vCenter's structure. Okay. So Hanu, can you go back to vCenter, please? Yeah, the upload is going on. So yeah. You log into vCenter. Inside vCenter, the first high level uh, structure is called as the data center. Okay, the virtual data center. And all the virtual machines getting created under it will be listed here. Now we are still in the process of uploading that ISO to create the Ubuntu machine. But once that is done, we will be able to discover that in Commvault, because the Commvault's VSA agent is communicating with this vCenter manager and able to discover everything to which it has got the permissions. Okay. So go to click on manage on the left hand side under VMware. Okay. And expand virtual machines once under, yeah, currently we don't have any, so it's not showing any. Okay. All right. We go back to Commvault GUI. Right. When you, once the VM is created, once you click on the plus symbol there under HA data center, we will be able to see the VMs under it. Currently, we are seeing localhost, which is the vCenter itself. But see, now we are not seeing any virtual machines under it. But once we create that virtual machine, we will be able to see it. So we will come back to this a little while later. Let us see the other options that are there in the properties of this particular subclient. Let's close this window. Yeah, this one only. Yeah, wait, don't cancel. Now go to storage device, storage device. Yeah. So here again, we can assign the storage policy. If you want, you can create a separate storage policy for every VM, or for all the VMs put together inside a virtual environment, you can create a single storage policy, or you can group them as per department or as per however logical grouping you want to do. So currently in our lab environment, we will assign it to the same storage policy what we had created for files. So it will go and sit on the same, backup storage which we had created. But we can actually create new storage policy as well. So I want to choose the existing storage policy. Yeah. Then go to data transfer option. Next tab. No. Inside this only, data transfer option. Yes. So here again, while taking the backup of the virtual machine, you can choose whether the compression should happen on the client side, or it should happen on the media agent, or whatever is specified in the storage policy settings. And here you see, you can also select the number of network agents that need to be spun up, which are nothing but backend processes for performance tuning. Then we go to deduplication, the deduplication tab. Yes. So here we are enabling deduplication. So entire virtual machines can be deduped. So whatever be the size of the original virtual machine, deduplication will happen, and only the unique blocks of data, even for a virtual machine, will be stored in the backup storage. So we will see the evidence of this also. And in my experience, whenever we are doing deduplication for virtual environments, we have seen very high rates of deduplication. Okay. Upwards of 90-95%. Sometimes I have even seen 98 to 99% deduplication. So the point that I'm trying to make is, for virtual environments, deduplication ratios are very high, and that results in a great amount of space saving on the backup storage or the backup destination. Okay. And this really helps in creating a very efficient, streamlined backup infrastructure. Okay. Now let's go to the next tab, and encryption. Encryption on top. Yeah. So currently we will not do any encryption. So you can click on none. But as we have seen in some of our initial classes, we can have various types of encryptions set up to AES 256 bit Rinjadel. Okay. Now we see a few unique tabs here which were not there when we were doing the configuration of file system. Okay, that's the VM management. So we will talk about it. So click on VM management. So here you can specify, okay, that while taking the backup, if some of these criteria for that virtual machine are met, then in order to finish the backups in the stipulated time, which is the backup window, we can shut down the VM. Now, question to all of you. How is it possible that Commvault is able to decide whether to keep the VM on or off? Can anybody, and how can it take control? Most importantly,
If iOS are not moving, so it's of no use to keep it on.
no, that was not my question. See,
Okay.
generally, VMs are managed by the whatever is the
Listen.
management software of the virtual environment. Now, in case of VMware, it is called vCenter. So vCenter actually has the control when to power on a virtual machine, when to power off a virtual machine. How come uh, Commvault is getting that control, and Commvault is able to, decide when to switch off while the backup is happening? How is it possible? Anyone? Let's assume that some of the criteria got met, whatever you see in that Commvault console. How come Commvault is getting that control over the virtual environment? Anyone? Shanil? Shanil? Saptarshi?
So I don't know.
Hmm?
Sir, I don't know.
You don't know? Hmm. You guys were not paying attention in the class. If you remember, when we were adding this virtual server configuration in Commvault, which credentials did we put in? Does anyone remember? Which credentials did Bhanu enter?
Sir, root.
Yes, it was root of what? Root user of which machine?
Sir, that VMware.
VMware vCenter Manager. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so that's the right answer, Rakshay. Great. So since Commvault has the credentials stored with itself of the vCenter manager, using those credentials, it will get control over the VM environment depending upon which user you have provided the credentials for. Now, since we have provided root, obviously it is going to get complete control. But even if you give uh, whatever is the recommended permissions from Commvault perspective, even then Commvault will be able to perform those operations because it has the credentials stored with it. Okay, clear? Any doubts on this resource management part? So you see there are these three criterias: CPU, disk, and network usage. So you can set the criteria when it should shut down while taking the backup. Okay. Now go to advanced options. Right. So here you can set the number of data readers. Okay. If you there are a few other options for the access nodes. So we will discuss them a little later. The reason why these options have been given is to accommodate certain network level and configuration level uh, things that every customer may have in their environment. Okay. So that's where we can dedicate access nodes, or we can have the disk storage of the virtual machine mounted on the access node temporarily. So all those, various permutations and combinations are possible. And this particular, tab allows us to do those configurations. But now we are not going to do, we're going to run a simple virtual machine backup. Okay. Now click on backup options. So here again, we see that there are different types of virtual machine backups. Okay. First one is called as application aware backup. Second one is called as file system and application consistent backup. It needs VMware tools installed. It's written in the bracket. Then crash consistent backup. And within crash consistent, if you want application based backup. Okay. And on the top, there is something called as changed block tracking. Okay. Now, what is this change block tracking? This change block tracking allows us to make sure that whenever we are taking incremental or differential backups after the first full backup, then Commvault virtual server agent will be able to track what have been the changes that happened since the last full and back up only the changes the next time. Okay. So that's called changed block tracking. And this happens not at the file layer, but at the block layer. And that's why the name changed block tracking. Okay. In our subsequent classes, we will learn more about application aware, file system and application consistent and crash consistent. What is the difference between these three kinds of backups? We will learn in the subsequent class. It'll get too much if you learn today. Okay. Now, last, there is one tab called IntelliSnap. Let us look at that. IntelliSnap operations. IntelliSnap operations. Yes. So if you remember in our yesterday's class, we saw the sequence of steps that the virtual server agent goes through in order to take a successful backup of any virtual environment. So the first stage was discovery. The second stage was selecting the VMs and then quasing the VM for a few milliseconds. Quasing means temporarily holding the IOs in the memory. And then immediately the next step was to take a snapshot of that VM, right? And once the snapshot of that VM has been successfully taken, it will release that quest, or it will release the hold, so that IOs or input outputs can start happening to that virtual machine. Now, this operation of taking or quasing a VM, taking a snapshot, and then releasing the quest or releasing the hold, these operations generally happen on the virtual environment side, on the VMware side or on the Hyper-V side, but can be controlled by Commvault. Okay. So that it is uh, giving you a consistent backup copy. Okay. These operations are termed within Commvault as IntelliSnap, intelligent snapshots. The short form is IntelliSnap. So once you select this checkbox called IntelliSnap, okay, see it says to enable IntelliSnap, you must enable it at the client level. So temporarily we'll say yes now. Click on yes. See, changing IntelliSnap state will cause the next backup to be converted to a full backup. That's fine. Click on OK. And then select on that drop down box. And if you see here, it gives you the various uh, hypervisors and storages with which it has got the out of box integration to take the snapshots. So can you please scroll this list? So you see we can take snaps of AWS, then so many different storage boxes are there. Okay. Keep scrolling down slowly. So we have Delhi MC, come down. Keep coming down. Then you have Fujitsu, then Google Cloud, then Hitachi, HP3 Power, okay, Nimble, Huawei, IBM, Infinidat, NetApp, Microsoft, Nutanix VM snapshots, and there you see VSA Server Agent Snap. Okay, that's for VMware, the last one. Okay. Now, while taking the snapshot, there are many other settings that you can do. Okay, that we will learn later. Okay, not today. So you can uncheck that IntelliSnap, and let's go back to content and see if we are able to discover the VM which we just created. Go to browse, expand the local host, and see we are able to discover the virtual machine that was created in vCenter environment from within Commvault because we did the integration and configuration. Okay, so select that VM and click on OK. Yes. Okay. Now you click on OK here as well. Okay. See, the storage policy got assigned, and now we are ready to take the backup of a whole virtual machine from Commvault. Okay. So let's right click on this and select backup. So even if you choose incremental here, it will still take a full backup for the first time. You can click on OK here, and then we go to job controller. And yeah, double click on that job. Okay, so we see that the backup has started. Let us go to events. So right now, uh, it has been converted to a full, and in the end you see virtual machine status. See, this tab was not available when we were doing file system backups. Now it got available. So here every individual's virtual machine's backup progress you can monitor. You can see the VM size is 60 GB. Okay, and the backup already completed. Okay, even though the VM size was 60 GB, see how much was written. Okay, 3.45 kilobytes only. Okay. So that is the amount of deduplication that can happen in virtual environments. Can you scroll to the right? Okay. These are all the snapshot related details that you can see. Okay. Within 9 seconds, it got completed. Okay. It's able to discover the version. CBT means it's a short form for change block tracking, what I explained to you a little while earlier. Now click on general and progress. So we see all the details here and click on progress. You will be able to see 21.58% compression. Now we will go to deduplication and see how much percentage deduplication we have actually achieved. So you close this. Yeah, go to storage resources. See, a new kind of DDB got created for virtual machines. Okay. Now this feature came in version 11. Okay. Until version 10, there was only single DDB for all kinds of backup workloads, whether it is files, whether it is databases, whether it is applications, whether it is virtual machines. Everything used to get deduplicated through a single deduplication database. But from V11 onwards, what has happened is, uh, depending upon the workload, uh, deduplication will be uh, changed. Okay. So the kind of DDB that will be used will be changed depending upon which workload you have. Okay. So that is what I wanted to show you. Here it says deduplication savings as 0. That's probably because there was no data inside that VM. Okay. So what we will do is we'll just put some data. We will run an incremental backup and we will see what kind of deduplication we are getting. So Bhanu, can you just copy one of the ISO files and put it inside the drive of the virtual machine? I'll tell you why. You have chosen the ISO of AMD, and this is a Intel processor. That's why you're getting the error. See AMD 64.ISO. Okay. So do one thing. You delete this VM. Let's create a Windows VM only, and let us rerun the backup. Same issue with this as well.
Hmm.
Think there is some issue with.
Some option is there, sir, I see. But yes.
Hmm. Hyper-threading is not active.
Mhm.
Okay, while Bhanu is
VMware level, I saw
troubleshooting,
these options.
sorry.
From workstation level, I see this option in Browse Pro, here process, this one, but it's not
Hmm.
enabled. Here it's not available.
Yeah, can you just add VMware tools? Uh, to add VMware tools, the we you need to be powered on. No, this has got to be with CPU.
Hmm.
No, not that. First one, first expose hardware assisted
This one.
virtualization to select that. Click on save. Just click on that. Click here for more details.
Hmm.
You can no, you have to delete the others.
Hmm.
This is 2019. You have selected 2016 OS.
2016 or later also.
No, the ISO said 2019.
Still,
Okay, let's
16 or
troubleshoot
later.
this and continue
Yeah.
in the next class. So,
Hmm.
okay. Any questions? Praveen, you had some question, right?
No, I sorted out.
Okay.
I was about to ask that the delta transfer, only incrementals get transferred, right? You already
Ah,
clarified.
that will happen if you enable that change block tracking.
Hmm. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay, so we will allow Bhanu to troubleshoot this because VMware workstation configurations are a little bit different from actual ESXi. So let him figure this out, and we will again log in tomorrow and do the rest of the configuration. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
sounds good.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for your time. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thank you all.
Good night,
Thank
sir.
you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir. Good night, sir.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.